Welcome to the Fit Girl Magic podcast. If you are ready to find your inner magic, develop great habits, and a rock-steady mindset to feel confident, comfortable, and fit in your body, you are in the right place. I am Kim Barnes Jefferson, and I'll be giving you weekly doses of health, fitness, and life tips sprinkled with humor and real talk. If you're ready to be consistent without the stress of perfection, magic makers, it's time to slip into your favorite pair of PJs, grab some coffee, kick back, and listen to today's show. This week's iTunes review is brought to you by ML Martel. She writes, 5 stars. Kim is more than just knowledgeable in just health and fitness. She is supportive, reassuring, and on the level. She gives it to you straight, just the way most people need it. Well, thank you so much, Michelle. I really appreciate that review. And you too can review Fit Girl Magic Podcast. Just go to iTunes or wherever you subscribe to this show and just leave me a 5-star review. I love them. I take them to heart. I just want to make sure that I'm bringing you the best stuff. So thank you so much for all of you who have left me a review so far. I can't wait to highlight you. All right, Magic Makers. Before you fire up another fat loss session, I want us to pause for a second. Because if dieting has almost worked for you for the last 5 years, why do we feel like we need to go on another diet? Why do we feel like we're always kind of starting over, working on a new plan? And I'm not saying this to be a pain in the ass. I'm not saying it at all. I'm saying because I love that cycle too, right? We always, like that Monday was going to be like my magic bullet. It was going to be the pixie dust that was going to change everything for me. And honestly, I see this in, I honestly see this in most of the women that I work with, right? I see that we tell ourselves we have a fat loss problem, but what most women don't have, they don't have that as a fat loss problem. They have a readiness problem. And wanting it really badly is not the same as being ready for it. And I know that's not a fun thing to hear. And I know you're like, what the hell, Kim? But stay with me. We're only 2 seconds into this podcast, so stay with me. This is what I know. Everybody wants fat loss. Your neighbor wants it. Your coworker Sharon wants it. The chick next to you at Target getting protein bars and a bottle of wine, she wants it too. But wanting it isn't the differentiator. Trust me, if dieting, back in my hardcore dieting days, if dieting was a sport and there was a Mercedes at the end of it, you bet your sweet bottom I'd be driving a Mercedes. I do not. Because the real question, instead of saying, I want this so bad and I'm willing to dig deep and go hard and blah, 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 is that are you in a season where your body can actually do it? Because what I see on repeat are women who've been doing the same version of the same diet for umpteen years. Maybe it's not a name plan. Maybe you've always been watching what you eat and restricting and always mentally negotiating with your food. But I do know this. They exhausted. Their sleep is a hot mess. They're not pooping. Stress is through the roof because this is just my life. And every Sunday turns into this week is going to be different. I see it all the time. Meanwhile, Thursday rolls around and then life does what it loves. And then you're back to where you are. I'm going to restart on Monday. I need to find a new program. I need to find a coach or whatever. You are not broken, my friends. You might just not be pushing in a season that actually needs something else. And here's a thought I want you to sit with, right? What if the stall isn't because you're doing too little, but because you've been asking your body to diet and it's tapped out? And sometimes the most strategic move, even though it is the most counterintuitive, the most like, what, is not about restricting more. It's about rebuilding. And I know I had to learn this lesson the hard way, starting my own fat loss phase, because I lived in the bubble. I lived in the gray area for a really long time. I wasn't restricting, but I wasn't really opening up my nutrition. And I remember when I was coaching for women who were doing fitness competitions, and one of the first things we told our clients after a show was, you got to open up your nutrition. You have to, because what we saw is like, as we would get girls ready for a show, every, X number of weeks, we would pull things out of their nutrition, right? And if I get to, and I'm making this number up, so say at the beginning of a competition, you could have 30 things on your list, right? 30, here are the 30 foods. Eat as much as you want. Do it. Rock on with your bad self. Then as we get close to the show, now it's 20. Then we get close to the show, now it's 10. Get close to the show, now it's 5, right? So if I'm living in this 5 zone, right? And I go to 6, I go to 7, I'm not really giving my body all that it needs. And we really need to open up the circle of what we can eat. And so while, the most strategic move, most people think is like, I need to restrict. The first move is rebuilding, right? For building yourself up to like that 20.
Hey, Magic Makers, real quick before we dive in, can we talk about your metabolism for a second? If you feel like your body has been giving you the finger lately, you are not crazy and you definitely are not broken. You might have a metabolism that is tired AF. I created a fun quiz to help you figure out exactly what's going on with your metabolism and what the heck to do about it. It could be, are you eating too little? Overtraining? Maybe doing the right things and still feeling stuck? This quiz will call it out. It only takes a few minutes and you will get a custom result that is spooky spot on. So if you're ready to stop throwing spaghetti against the wall and finally figure out how to eat, train, and feel good again, go take the quiz like right frickin' now. Link is in the show notes. Let's figure out how your metabolism is holding you back and how to get out of diet jail. So back to the show.
And because you want the fat loss phase doesn't mean fat loss is where you start. And for a lot of people that I start with, this is like a kind of a mind fuck, right? It's that I know you don't want to hear it. I know that you came to me because you're like, Kim, I look in the mirror and I look like this and my belly's like that and my ass is like this. I hear you, right? Or you say, oh my God, I got a vacation. I'm going to Aruba in 2 weeks, girl. What can we do? I'm like, can we chop up a body part? Like that's really all we can do. You had a special event, or you're just tired of seeing what you see in the mirror. And I hear you, but wanting it and being ready for it are the two different things. So let me paint this picture for you, right? See if any of this sounds familiar. You're running on fumes most afternoon. You're white knuckling your hunger until the next meal. Your energy is dropping like a stone around 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you think about food way more than normal, like balancing the, like, if I eat this, then this has to happen. And, how many calories in here and how many grams of carbs, blah. And yet you are doing right things, but you still feel exhausted. And this right here is important data because your body's already stretched really thin. Your mindset is already stretched really thin. And jumping straight into a fat loss phase isn't the power move right now. And here's where we're going to do a gut check. I'm going to give you 5 questions here. Not for you to judge yourself, but to be honest, right? So it's like, I went skiing recently, and I know I did something in the cold weather. What? I do have a hard deck for what the temperature is before I ski. But anyway, so I don't really ski all that often, but when I do ski, I always take a lesson because I'm like, first of all, I'm not ever trying to be good. Like I'm never going to try to be like Lindsey Vonn. No, like go use Lindsey, rock on with your bad self. I'm Kim, and my goal is to not fall down the hill. That's my number 1 goal. So they always give you an assessment of like, what can you do so that they know, the instructor knows where to start you off. Like, are you starting off on the bunny hill or are you just, can we take you further up on the chairlift? And so this is the same idea, right? Are we on the bunny hill or are we going to be able to ski black diamonds? So first question is, can you hit your protein and fiber goals most days without it feeling like a full-time job? Because if the basics already feel hard, subtracting calories is not the move. You might not need to eat less. Might need to eat better, be more strategic. And that's a very different project than restrict. Number 2, strength training. Are we doing this at least 3 days a week? Because muscle is the engine for everything we're doing, for fat loss, for muscle building, for maintaining what you got, right? Because without it, fat loss often turns into smaller, softer, more frustrated. And listen, I've lived there too. So when I say lift weight, I'm saying it with love. And I'm not saying spending your life in the gym. If you notice, I said 3 times a week. Did I say 90 minutes? Did I say 2 hours? No, I'm not asking for that slugfest. One of the big things that I do in one of my programs is that I get my girls in and out of the gym in less than an hour. And if you have more time to spend at the gym, rock on with your bad self. But if you're like, girl, I only got 30 minutes, I can get you in and out of the gym with 30 minutes. Question 3. Can you maintain your current weight within 3 to 5 pounds calmly? And this right here, this is the money, right? Staying within 3 to 5 pounds. This is what I always have my clients do, like 3 to 5 pounds. Like, you're not going to step on the scale and balance to the penny every day. Like, we're not a cash register. That's not going to happen. But if you can stay within 3 to 5 pounds, that is the sweet spot. And I know some of you, I know some of you, I'm never going to get you to break with the scale, and that's fine. But if you are, it's like you're staying within 3 to 5 pounds. That's like that's fluid life. Like, maybe you had a little more carbs, maybe you're a little more hydrated, maybe you're a little unhydrated, maybe you had a little bit more salt, maybe you ate out, whatever it is. But when you see that, you're not spiraling, you don't need a daily emotional support, you're not panicking when that happens. And this is maintenance. And I know maintenance for a lot of people feel chaotic because we don't ever teach you that. We only teach you how to lose weight. And fat loss, if this like 3 to 5 pounds feels like really like, fat loss is going to feel like a freaking tornado if we can't learn how to hold things steady. Because you didn't fail. You just found the actual starting line. And that's where I really kind of work with my clients, is to get them to the starting line before we can get to the fat loss line. And then the one of the last questions is like, I talk a lot about capacity. And what I mean when I say capacity, I talk about bandwidth, right? Because fat loss doesn't come from effort. I know all of you guys, you show effort. You've been showing effort since you're damn 16 years old. But when you look at your weeks right now, are you in a season with some margin? Or are you in a season that that demands a lot of your attention? So that means, is your calendar stacked? Are you heading to like weekend tournaments with your kids, social plans? Do you have a spouse that is like spontaneous about eating out or entertaining? Because when life's full, that's often our body's waving a red flag, a white flag. White flag being like, hey, I need some support here. So it's not that you're failing. You're not broken. It's just signaling your body's like, hey, right now, our mental capacity, our social capacity, our calendar capacity is not where it is. And it's time for us to pull back. So, the 3 easiest examples, so that if you're like, I don't know what this means, Kim, and I'm such a context person. So the first example, and I regularly share this one because it just hits home. Tax season. I have a client who is an accountant. And pretty much from the time we start getting all of those tax forms until the end of April, she's heads down, making sure all of her clients get their tax crap situated. So the capacity for her, 0, right? So I work with her to be like, okay, we know that from pretty much let's just say February, from February 1st to April 30th, your capacity is going to be at a 0. So we figure out what we can handle when our capacity is at 0. School teachers, I live in the Northeast, so we get out of school roughly the middle of June. So I have a client who's like from Labor Day to June, her capacity fluctuates. It's not exactly 0, but it's not exactly on a 10. So we find her spots in her capacity. Like we've been working together for a while now. So we kind of know like the beginning of school is a hot mess, but then things kind of calm down between October and November. So we can kind of start to dial things up. And then we know we can, then we can kind of get a little winter break. We can dial things up a little bit more. Then things get a little crazy when we're back after Christmas. So we pull things back. So it's like we kind of start looking at where does our mental capacity, where does our time capacity start to fill in here? Because it's about being strategic, right? Where do we pull back? Where do we hold the line? And where do we push? Instead of forcing ourselves into a push when, if I were to push my client during March 15th, how's that going to go? Right? She's going to be like, yeah, sure, I can do it. Right? Yeah. And then like, she's going to crumble into a heap because she's like, I've been, working 12 plus hour days. My mindset's shocked because I'm like trying to make sure my clients have all the right forms in place and write the numbers. Like it's not the time. And so I want us all to really like that number 4 question is really getting honest with ourselves. Are you going on vacation? What, and do you want to be the dieter on vacation? When I used to coach my girls do fitness competitions, I had a girl who, she was going on a dream trip with her whole family to Italy, right? Meeting relatives, like the whole bit. And there was a show 2 months later. And I was like, well, why are you doing this show? Like, why don't we just, you go to Italy, have a great freaking time. Meet your family for the first time, right? And enjoy just being with your other family members. And she's like, but no, what are you saying? I can't do the show? I'm like, it was totally, she took it like I was like, you're not going to be ready. And I took it as, I want you to go on this 2-week dream vacation and not think about what you're putting in your mouth. Have the wine, have the pasta, and not be like, can't have that, got to go to the gym, got to do that. Like, no, that's not a way to live our life. And the final question is, what does your life look like, right? Do you actually have the time, the energy, the headspace to do fat loss well? Or are we trying to sprint to something? Because, and hoping that fat loss like works itself out, right? Question 4 and question 5 for me are just, that is like the money. Like this is where like you have to like truly dig in and ask yourself these questions, because this is what I know, that successful fat loss in midlife rarely happens in chaos mode. It happens when you actually have the capacity to support it. And wanting to support it and actually having the capacity to support it, that's 2 different animals. And one of the big things that I'm working a lot with my clients on is the planning, right? For most of us, let's be honest, our lives work in the rhythm. So we kind of really have the rhythm. We don't really have that same kind of spontaneous stuff that we had back in the day. And, as I work with my clients, we're working through what I call like your 3 gears, right? Your 3 gears are like, we know when we're going to push. We know when we need to pull back strategically. And we know when we're going to hold the line, right? And so push is like what I call your reveal. This is your fat loss phase, right? Like we're intentionally revealing the good work we've put in. We've got the bandwidth, our systems are solid, we're leaning in on purpose. And then we're going to pull back in what I call the restoration phase. We're giving our bodies more fuel, we're getting more recovery, getting our bodies out of that like tapped out, like, kind of, if this was like the WWE, or the WWF. I think it's called WWE now. If I was a wrestler, I think those old style 80s wrestlers were like all the drama, and you got to tap out for them to like stop putting you in that fake chokehold. That's what the restoration phase is all about. And then we have the hold the line phase. Like this is maintenance. Like we're just living our damn lives. Like we're not worried. Like, is this on the good food list? Is this on the bad food list? Can I go out to have a date with my sweetie? Like all of that stuff. Because like I know life is full, and we want to be able to maintain everything we've been working for without drama. And if you've made it this far to this and you're listening and you're saying, okay, I just might be pushing in a season that I need support. Good. That's awareness. That's where change actually starts. Because the goal is never to force fat loss at all costs, because we've all done it. And how does that work out, right? It leaves us on a heap on the side of the road, like calling SOS. But the goal is now, like, how do we work with our body so our results actually stick? And many of you listening to this, you've come to the same realization I do. It's hard. It gets harder. And the pulling the same tricks, the same levers, it don't work no more. So here's where, like, we have to be strategic. We can't just like fall ass backwards into weight loss by pulling back on the carbs a little bit here and, pulling back on the wine like that. Like, that might work for some of you, and that still does. Great. I love that for you. But for most of us, we're sitting here just being like, what else can I do? I'm at my wit's end. So if you're sitting here thinking, okay, Kim, honestly, I really don't know what season I'm at. Like, you asked me some really great questions. You asked me some hard-ass questions that I really hate answering the question to. I apologize, because I too have been asked hard questions. And I worked with a coach a couple of years ago, and she asked me some really hard-ass questions that I didn't want to ask myself. And I had to sit in it. She made me sit in it. She's like, I see the discomfort in your face, Kim. And she's like, I'm making you sit in this so that we can finally push through this, so that we can finally stop with this, the like swirling. And it sucked, really sucked. And I didn't want to do it. But I did. Right. And I know that sitting in this discomfort, asking yourself these hard questions, it's what's going to get you out of the spiral. And if you're ready, if you're like, Kim, honestly, I have no idea like what I should be doing, what season I'm actually in, I made a quiz, and it's called, Is Your Metabolism Tired AF? And it will help you see where your body is. Is your body ready to push? Is your body saying, girl, we got to pull back? Is your body saying, hey, we can hold the line? So the link is in the show notes. Go take it. It's the fastest way to stop guessing and start moving in the right direction. All right, Magic Makers, as always, I love to hear about how this is landing with you. Do me a favor. Take a screenshot and say, hey, loved it. I feel seen. Or if you're taking the quiz, like, do me a favor and screenshot what you got out of the quiz. And I would love to see that. And I will talk to you guys next week. As always, have a fabulous day.
Thank you for listening to the Fit Girl Magic podcast. If you've made it this far, yay. I'm thinking you enjoyed the show. Let's continue the conversation on Instagram. You can find me at Kim Jefferson Coach. In order for me to keep sharing this message, do me a favor and leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe so that you won't miss an episode. New episodes are available every Wednesday. The Fit Girl Magic podcast is intended to provide you with tips, tools, and strategies that will help you make better decisions about your health. I really appreciate your feedback and your support. Thank you so much.